Chapter-1-20 The strongest revision system. It is also the only capital he can escape from here. It's just, what's the use of this strongest modification system? He was completely puzzled, and the system did not introduce too much detail. It seemed that he needed to explore everything by himself. At this time, pushed by the crowd of pirates behind, Liang stumbled and took the first step forward. At the same time, a voice suddenly appeared in my head. Congratulations to the host, open the modifier, the speed value is plus 999,999. Comprehend that God walks 100 steps. Open black lens bracket breakthrough novice close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket breakthrough entry close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket breakthrough proficiency close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket breakthrough master close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket breakthrough master close black lens bracket. The continuous sound of the system made Liang's head dizzy. However, after the system's voice finished, a mysterious force poured into his body. For a while, he felt that his feet could burst out with terrifying power to stimulate his own speed, and his body also became light. Fuck. Liang was stunned, his face full of excitement, and he lost his voice. The strongest modification system. Can you modify all the attributes of my body? In an instant, my speed has already exploded. This system is too powerful, praise and praise. As soon as he spoke, a system prompt came again. Congratulations to the host, open the modifier, the language value is plus 999,999. Understand the lion's roar. Open black lens bracket breakthrough novice close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket breakthrough entry close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket breakthrough proficiency close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket breakthrough master close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket breakthrough master close black lens bracket. Lion's roar. Liang's eyes widened, and the corners of his mouth opened slightly, unable to close. This is just talking, and it brings him incredible ability. Oh my god. Is the strongest modification system so awesome? Will doing other things bring a different experience? Liang thought happily in his heart, his eyes flickered with brilliance, and an unprecedented self-confidence emerged. He raised his head and looked at the airtight cells around him. Advanced City. Liang's eyes narrowed slightly. Then let me be the second person in history to escape from the Advanced City. Chapter-002 Magellan. I don't know, at my current speed, how does it compare to Kizaru's? Liang thought to himself that the speed given to him by the strongest modification system should be faster than that of Kizaru. The speed value is already extreme. Go quickly, don't block the people in front of you, mother-in-laws. The Navy is still urging. But their voices are no longer majestic in Liang's heart. At least, he currently has a speed record, and he has an additional lion's roar skill, which is more than enough to deal with these little shrimp navy. Liang stood in the center of the pirate team, and the expressions of the pirates before and after were very lonely, basically without any hope. Advanced City, the first golden lion to escape, is too far from their level. Liang looked around with his eyes, observing the situation, looking for the best direction and position to escape. After a navy found Liang's actions, his expression was full of contempt. Boy, even if you figure out the structure of this place, you can't escape from here, so give up. Boy, do you know, where is this place? This is the Advanced City. The rest of the navy laughed heartily, expressing deep sneer at Liang's actions. Entering the Advanced City and trying to escape from here. This is a big joke. History is not without, but only one. However, the Navy here will not think that these garbage pirates on the floor of Red Lotus Hell have the ability to escape from here. Soon. A large group of pirates have successfully entered the Red Lotus Hell, the big underwater prison. There is only one direction to escape, run up. Otherwise, there are a lot of sea kings on the seabed. Generally, no matter how strong the pirates are, facing those sea kings on the seabed, they will appear precarious. Don't look at it, brother, just stay here honestly. That's right, want to escape from here. It's impossible in this life. Let's think about how we can live better here next. As far as I know, the Red Lotus Hell is not so safe. Although, the range of activities is very wide. Quote. A large group of pirates sighed and talked in a low voice. Li Ang was expressionless, not paying attention to the frustrated words of these pirates, and still observing the structure of the Red Lotus Hell. The area here is too vast, like an island, with a large forest, mountains and other places, completely unlike what a prison should look like. Going up is the only way to escape from here. Li Ang made up his mind and chose to leave the group of pirates alone. Many pirates watched him leave and sneered again and again. You, stunner again, you still have to polish it up to keep yourself safe. After leaving the group, Li Ang thought, try it, my current limit speed. I saw that with a kick of his feet, the whole person flew into the sky. Easily, break through the distance of hundreds of meters. Boom. After both feet landed, the ground cracked. And raised a burst of dust, floating in the air. And he himself was unscathed. I'm going. Li Ang was startled, looking at his body with disbelief. Chapter-1-20 Li Ang was startled, looking at his body with disbelief. Even he himself could not predict that his speed was already so terrifying. With a single jump, he jumped to a height of hundreds of meters. This is something that even the world's top figures, such as Garp and Whitebeard, can't do it. However, he did it with ease. In this way, it is not difficult to escape from the Red Lotus Hell. After practicing for a few minutes, Li Ang was full of self-confidence. With such a terrifying speed, there is no place in the world to keep him. After a minute, Li Ang appeared on the other side of the Red Lotus Hell. At his current terrifying speed, he can easily use a few minutes to run from the east of Red Lotus Hell to the end of the west. Try it and get out of here. Li Ang's eyes flickered, looking at the high and straight stairs in front of him, secretly said. Advanced City is a prison built under the sea. The first floor of the sea does not hold prisoners and is used for excessive areas, while also cleaning prisoners of germs, etc. The first floor under the sea is the Red Lotus Hell. The Beast Hell on the second floor. Hunger Hell on the third floor. The lower the floor, the stronger the prisoners are, and the less likely they are to escape. No one could imagine that a monster like Li Ang appeared in the Red Lotus Hell. Immediately, Li Ang took a step and stepped onto the first step of the stairs. At the same time, he burst out with a terrifying speed. In an instant, he reached the end of the stairs. On the way, he encountered the unique beasts in the Red Lotus Hell, blue orangutans, poisonous spiders and so on. But he was too fast for the beast to catch up. At the end of the stairs, Li Ang came to a corridor. In the quiet corridor, only the sound of his own footsteps remained. Ta-ta-ta. On the other end, there was also the sound of footsteps. A strong middle-aged man in black clothes gradually appeared in Li Ang's eyes. He was burly, wearing a black shirt, with a pair of black wings on his back, and a pair of black horns on his head. He looked imposing. The pirates of the Red Lotus Hell. It's unbelievable that a mere little pirate can actually come here. The middle-aged man stared at Li Ang, his face full of surprise. Director of Advancement, Magellan. Li Ang stopped in his footsteps, a bit of solemn expression appeared on his face, and he said in a low voice. The other party's obvious appearance and characteristics make it easy to distinguish his identity. Chapter-003 The road sees a roar of injustice. At this time, Magellan's mood is very complicated. He can't believe that Li Ang in front of him can do this area. If he didn't happen to pass by here, I'm afraid, Li Ang would really follow this road, looking for an opportunity to escape from the advanced city. However, fortunately he met each other. Since it is God's will to let me meet you, let you stay here. Magellan has a rough voice, expressionless face, and confidence. In a cramped place like a prison, Magellan's devil fruit ability is just right. Even if the general is in prison, he may not be able to defeat him. Not necessarily. The corners of Li Ang's mouth were slightly upturned, suppressing the excitement in his heart. As soon as we met, I met such a terrifying person. Exactly, let him have a try, whether his limit speed can escape Magellan's poisonous fruit. By the way, what level of power can the lion's roar bring? At the same time, he had another plan in mind. Full level speed, plus full level roar. This wave, even Magellan, may not be invincible. The little pirate in the Red Lotus Hell, who gave you the confidence? Magellan's eyes were full of contempt, and he said lightly. Red Lotus Hell on the first floor under the sea. It is known to hold weaker pirates. And a terrifying powerhouse of Magellan's level, even the prisoners in the infinite hell on the 6th floor are not afraid, let alone the prisoners on the 1st floor. If you can catch me, then you win. Li Ang took a deep breath, kicked his feet, and the speed was extremely terrifying. With a whoosh, he instantly appeared beside Magellan, and the corners of his mouth twitched. It's a pity, my speed is far from what you can keep up with. Next second, Li Ang appeared in the area 100 meters away from Magellan. The series of movements only happened in the blink of an eye. This terrifying speed made Magellan stiff, and his entire face fell into a sluggishness. Incredible. This is what shocked him. The pirates in the Red Lotus Hell on the 1st floor have reached such a terrifying speed. Even he was unable to defend against it. If Li Ang attacked just now, he would not have the strength to let go. You. Magellan moved his lips slightly, pointing to Li Ang's position with an inexplicable expression. Dark purple venom emerged from his body, and attacked Li Ang's position swiftly. Poison Dragon. From the very beginning, he burst out with the strongest blow. The venom formed a dragon-shaped object, and its fangs slammed into Li Ang's position. Li Ang in front of him cannot be underestimated. After the shock of Li Ang's terrifying speed just now, his mood gradually became tense, and he was full of energy, and he never dared to be careless. Chapter 003 _ The road sees a roar of injustice. After the shock of Li Ang's terrifying speed just now, his mood gradually became tense, and he was full of energy, and he never dared to be careless. Boom! The poison dragon slammed into the wall, causing a shock, but it did not cause much physical damage. The terrifying thing about the poison dragon is its venom, not the physical damage. Is it dead? Magellan looked at the position ahead and whispered to himself. Sorry, I'm not dead. Li Ang's figure appeared beside Magellan with a faint smile. The attack speed is too slow to keep up with my rhythm. If it's such an attack, then I can only say it's a pity, you can't kill me. Die. Magellan's pupils shrank, and he turned around to be a venom. Immediately after, Li Ang's figure disappeared again, and the speed was so fast that there was an afterimage. And Magellan's venom hit Li Ang's afterimage without causing him any injuries. At this time, Li Ang stood on top of an iron pillar, and he didn't even get a trace of venom on his body, not to mention his injuries, and he didn't even lose a hair. According to this, you can't catch me. Li Ang still smiled and said slowly. Poison Dragon. Magellan's face gradually darkened, and dark purple venom erupted from the forest, forming a poisonous dragon. Boom! The poisonous dragon hit the iron pillar. However, long before the poisonous dragon arrived, Li Ang kicked his feet and immediately left the position he was standing. He appeared on the iron pillar at the other end. His face was not blushing, he was not breathing, and he was calm. Well. Magellan's eyelids twitched violently, venom appeared in his hands, and he was always ready to attack. It's my turn. Li Ang showed a smile, and his white teeth were very conspicuous. Then, he kicked his feet and reached Magellan's side at a terrifying speed. His speed is too fast. Magellan is in the action of turning around, his eyes are a little heavy, and the attack can't break out. At this moment, the defensive measures he can do are limited, covering the body with venom, allowing him to elementalize himself to prevent Li Yang's physical attacks. Unfortunately, he was wrong. Because from the beginning, Li Yang was not going to use his body to attack. Lion's roar. Li Yang's eyes twinkled brightly, leaning against Magellan's ear and shouting loudly. Roar. The voice was loud, resounding through the sky, and this shrill voice lingered in the huge corridor. Boom. The sound wave vibrated, causing the iron pillars to sink, and the surrounding walls collapsed, revealing cracks. Just relying on the sound brings such terrifying attack power. The full-level Lion's Roar skill brings extraordinary momentum. Chapter 004 _ The Second Man Who Escaped from the Advanced City. Ah! Magellan covered his ears tightly, and his ears were buzzing, which made him a little refreshed. His eyes were hazy, and his vision gradually became blurred. The shock caused by the sound wave shook even his forehead. I just feel that there are mosaics everywhere in the whole world, and it is blurred. All the precautionary measures he took were useless in the face of the sonic attack of Li Yang's Lion Roar. Devil Fruit ability, able to block physical attacks. But it does not mean that they can block the attack of sound waves. At this time, Magellan was dazed by the sound waves brought by Li Yang's Lion Roar. What kind of trick is this? Magellan's heart was tumbling, completely incomprehensible. This is the first time in his life that he has suffered such a strange attack. But let's not say, this trick is still very useful to deal with Devil Fruit ability. At least, Magellan now has hazy eyes, unable to capture Li Yang's figure. Also, consciousness is gradually fading. He shook his head violently, the blood on his face subsided, becoming a little pale, unable to support, kneeling on the ground with his legs and hands on the ground, breathing violently. Aside. When the Lion's Roar was activated, Li Yang quickly fled from Magellan's side to prevent the opponent's venom attack. But seeing Magellan's tragic end made him a little shocked. The Lion's Roar, is it so strong? Li Yang thought so. Although this move contains unexpected elements, it can cause such huge damage to a terrifying powerhouse like Magellan, which shows that this move is not bad. This move seems to be a very effective blow to Devil Fruit users. The ability person is elementalized and cannot block the attack of sound waves. Immune to physics, but not immune to sonic attacks. For a while, Li Yang seemed to see that it was the best way to deal with Devil Fruit abilities in the future. He didn't even think of it himself. He thought it was just an ability to shock the opponent, but in the end, it could bring such effective damage to Magellan. Cough, don't try to escape. Magellan coughed, his face flushed, and he stared at Li Yang's position, his voice low. Do you want to stop me? But, you don't have this ability. Next time you meet me, remember to be careful and protect your ears. Li Yang smiled all over his face. Without turning his head, he stepped forward to the other end of the corridor. If there is no accident, as long as you escape from the big iron gate there, you can escape. Although the process seems to be smooth, it is actually very difficult to actually do it. If Li Yang didn't have this terrifying speed, he wouldn't be able to get here at all. Come back, damn it. Magellan was full of unwillingness and reached out to stop Li Yang. However, his vision was even more blurred, and he couldn't see Li Yang's movements clearly. He could only capture a figure that was gradually disappearing from his sight. Li Yang left here without taking a cloud with him. As the director of the advanced city, the terrifying Magellan could not stop Li Yang. Chapter 004 _ The Second Man Who Escaped from the Advancing City. As the director of the advanced city, the terrifying Magellan could not stop Li Yang. Although this is not a real fight. But in this collision, Li Yang completely defeated Magellan. Taking advantage of Magellan's unpreparedness, the roar of lions made the opponent lose his ability to fight. After leaving the hallway, Li Yang successfully reached the position of the iron gate. As long as the iron gate was opened, the sky was high and the birds flew, which made him feel like a duck to water. As for Magellan, who had been numb from the lion's roar, he had completely left him behind. After waiting for about a few minutes, sudden bang! The iron door was actually opened. Not surprisingly, another batch of prisoners has been sent in, and this is my chance too. Li Yang's eyes narrowed slightly, looking at the light gap that gradually opened the iron gate. His mood became excited. Soon, the iron door gradually opened. A row of navy rushed into it frantically, and guarded a group of pirates, leading the pirates into the Red Lotus Hell. Don't be noisy, let me be quiet. The navy was uproar, and the attitude towards pirates was very unfriendly. At the same time, they also saw Li Yang standing inside the iron gate. At this time, Li Yang was wearing a gray-white prisoner's clothing, and he could tell at a glance that he was a pirate prisoner imprisoned in the Red Lotus Hell. Why are there prisoners here? The navy looked at each other, puzzled. Good morning everyone. A smile appeared on Li Yang's face, and he kicked his feet. Whoosh! All can only feel a shadow flickering. Li Yang's figure disappeared without a trace. They were completely unable to capture Li Yang's movement trajectory, the other party's speed was too fast. What's the situation? Prisoner, why did you disappear? Not good. He's going to escape. Let's inform the director, notify the deputy director, and let everyone be on guard. Quote. The Navy's faces were wide-eyed, and they thought of the biggest possibility for the first time. Immediately, all the navies panicked, and quickly arranged manpower to notify some big figures in the advancing city to let them deal with it. Pushing into the city, there are prisoners who have escaped. This is a big thing. When the Golden Lion was the first to escape from the advancing city, it caused the sea to tremble. Even the world government was alarmed, and various high-level officials of the naval headquarters were moved. Now, in the huge advanced city, is there really a second person who escaped from the advanced city? Chapter 005_Advanced City Unrest. At that time, after the Golden Lion escaped, it brought a heavy blow to the Navy. In this regard, various measures such as advancing the walls of the city have been improved, and they have become more solid and airtight, and it is difficult for even a mosquito to fly out from here. That is to say, the advancing city today is more closely guarded than the advancing city in the Golden Lion era, and the chance of escape is countless times smaller than it was back then. There is also an invincible existence in the advancing city, Magellan. Even with such a terrifying lineup and defensive measures, there was still a second person who escaped from the advanced city. This turmoil, I am afraid that it will sweep the entire naval headquarters. The most important thing is that this prisoner actually came from the Red Lotus Hell on the first floor of the sea. Most of the people imprisoned here are no ones. It is understandable that the people in the infinite hell on the 6th floor under the sea can escape, they do have such terrible strength and ability. But the prisoners of the Red Lotus Hell can escape, almost beyond everyone's expectations. Immediately, in the huge advancing city, all the navies were in turmoil. My God, did anyone actually escape? Where's Director Magellan? Tell Director Magellan. We found Director Magellan in the hallway and he appeared to be in a coma, delirious and didn't know what was going on. What? Director Magellan is a person with the ability of poisonous fruit, but he will not get sick. Could it be that he was defeated by someone? Notify Deputy Director Hannibal that someone has escaped. This incident must be stopped as soon as possible, and no one will be allowed to escape. Quote. Countless navies walked down the corridor with anxious faces and notified the guards on various floors. Almost all of them were dispatched, and that prisoner must be caught, so as to make up for their sin of advancing the city. If at this time, there is a second prisoner who escaped from the push city, then the people they push into the city will really be severely tortured. Not only will they be ridiculed by the people of the Navy headquarters, but also outside the sea. Every pirate thinks that advancing the city has no meaning to exist. In order to avoid this situation, they had to catch Li Yang. However, the chances of them being able to catch Li Yang are almost zero. Relying on Li Yang's current speed, even if Kizaru came in person, he might not be able to keep up with him. Quick, quick, send more people to look for it there. Groups of Navy, with anxious faces, shouted. At the same time, the Navy quickly inspected the first floor of the Red Lotus Hell. If the other party just hides here, then they can breathe a sigh of relief. The fear is that the other party has escaped the Red Lotus Hell and left the advanced city completely. When this matter spreads out, advancing the city really has to face shame. There is the first Golden Lion, which has already made the advanced city full of face. After all, this place is known as the strongest prison and the strictest prison in the world. If this can allow people to escape, their title will be meaningless. The turmoil in the Navy made the pirates imprisoned in the Red Lotus Hell not knowing why. Chapter 005_Advance the City Unrest. The turmoil in the Navy made the pirates imprisoned in the Red Lotus Hell not knowing why. What's the situation? A sturdy pirate looked at the countless navies coming and going, puzzled. Seeing that this group of navies are in such a tense atmosphere, it is rare to see such a scene in advancing the city. It is said that a pirate escaped. A relatively thin pirate, his eyes twinkled brightly, a little excited, and said in a low voice. If there are pirates who can escape, then give them unlimited hope. They just lack the courage to move forward. As long as someone walks the road ahead, they will naturally no longer be depressed and lonely. What? All the pirates were boiling, their faces were shocked, and their expressions changed dramatically. Does a pirate really escape? I'm going. What kind of pirate is that, with such terrifying abilities? I think it should be those monsters in the 6th layer of infinite hell. Quote. A pirate shook his head. You guessed wrong. This time, this pirate, I heard that he escaped from our Red Lotus Hell. Moreover, he just came in and was detained for a few days, and he successfully escaped the Navy's sight. It can be said to be a genius. Escaped from the Red Lotus Hell. The pirate stiffened, his throat was dry, and his expression was unbelievable. The faces of some pirates who had talked with Liang were even more horrified. They looked at each other, and there was a possibility in their hearts, but they couldn't believe it. Did you see him yet? No, since he left, his shadow has never been captured. Although it is unbelievable, at present, it is really possible that he escaped. It turns out that we are the frogs in the well. It's ridiculous. Yeah, if I had known, I would have followed him. At least, I could still get a chance to leave here. It's a pity that I have no time to regret it now. A group of pirates were full of bitterness and remorse in their hearts. If they had followed Liang back then, perhaps, they would have really had a chance to escape from here. It's just that instead of following Liang, they used those words to ridicule. In the end, when the result appeared, it really gave them a slap in the face, and now their face is still hot and red. P.S. Ask for flowers, comment tickets, thank you readers. Chapter 006_Shock of the Warring States. Quick, quick, don't fucking hold me back. If we can't catch the prisoner this time, we won't have a better time. If the blame comes down, everyone won't have any good fruit to eat. Hurry up, don't delay. The prisoners we have to face this time are the pirates in the mere Red Lotus Hell. That's right, everyone don't have to be nervous. The pirates in the Red Lotus Hell haven't been able to defeat us yet. Quote. The Navy was dispatched one after another, in order to find Liang, and launched a carpet search. At this time, Magellan gradually recovered his sanity. After waking up, he found himself in the medical room, surrounded by some beautiful female nurses, who were conditioning his body, as well as many instruments and so on. Not good. Magellan's pupils shrank, and he walked out of the infirmary quickly, ignoring the female nurse's obstruction. He immediately found a phone bug and dialed the number of the Navy headquarters. Boo boo. The phone worm went through. Hello, Magellan, what's the matter? The voice of the Warring States came from the phone bug, which seemed very comfortable. Hearing this voice, it immediately reminded people that the other party should be in the office, picking his feet leisurely. As the director of the advanced city, Magellan naturally has the power to communicate directly with the warring states. Marshal of the warring states, your subordinates are negligent. Magellan's tone was heavy, he gritted his teeth, and said in a low voice. Tell me, what's the matter? Warring states still didn't feel nervous, even if he wanted to break his head, he couldn't think of what Magellan wanted to report. Marshal, from the advanced city, a second man escaped. Magellan's lips moved slightly, hoarse. Silence. On the other end of the phone bug, warring states also fell into silence, raised his head and looked at the ceiling, his throat was dry, and his face was full of disbelief. Second, those who escaped from the advanced city. This incident has made him fall into the memory. Back then, when the Golden Lion escaped, it caused the sea to shake. At this moment, there is actually a second man who escaped from the advanced city. This is so unbelievable. Who is it? Balearic guy, or those guys from the Evil King? The first thing that came to mind in the Warring States period was the monsters of the 6th floor Infinite Hell. If these monsters escaped, the impact would be too great. Neither. Magellan shook his head, took a deep breath, and answered truthfully, he came from the first layer of Red Lotus Hell, a little pirate who just entered the advanced city. I don't even know his name. Chapter 006 _ The Shock of the Warring States. Magellan shook his head, took a deep breath, and answered truthfully, he came from the first layer of Red Lotus Hell, a little pirate who just entered the advanced city. I don't even know his name. What? Sengoku was shocked, his lips trembled, and he almost threw the phone bug out. The first floor of the Red Lotus Hell under the sea, the reason why it is on the first floor of the sea, is that it is responsible for detaining the weakest group of pirates. However, the fact that such a weak pirate was able to escape from the advanced city was simply the biggest challenge to their naval headquarters. In the past, the Golden Lion escaped from the Infinite Hell anyway. The pirates who escaped from the Red Lotus Hell on the first floor have really never been heard of for hundreds of years. Then what are you doing? Pirates with such strong strength are only imprisoned in the Red Lotus Hell. Warring States was full of anger and shouted. Marshal, no, we don't know his strength at all. Moreover, he is an obscure junior at sea, and at a young age, the bounty on the reward list is only a few million berries, which is not enough. For fear. Magellan was in a cold sweat and explained. Immediately, find him, advance the city and never allow the second escaped person to exist in this world. This is a challenge to the majesty of our naval headquarters. The Warring States tone was beyond doubt, said. Yes, Marshal of the Warring States period. After hanging up the phone bug, Warring States was alone in the office, staring blankly at the ceiling. Unexpectedly, the originally pleasant time was interrupted by this sudden news. Moreover, this is not a simple jailbreak. Escape from the advancing city, this matter is not easy. Advanced City, known as the largest prison in the world, is also the most heavily guarded prison in the world, and it is almost impossible for anyone to escape. One after another, in addition to the Golden Lion a few decades ago, a new little pirate appeared at this time, which made the Warring States period stand by and watch. In this case, where is the majesty of the Navy? Immediately after. Warring States dialed the phone bug, informed Kizaru immediately, and let him go to the advanced city to assist Magellan. Tell him, this time, we must not allow failure, nor allow laziness. Even the generals of the Yellow Monkey were dispatched to advance to the city. Come to think of it, the Warring States period is also highly serious about this matter. The Navy did not allow it, and there were still people who escaped from the advancing city. Especially in this sea area now, there are countless pirates. If we say that the Navy was counter-suppressed by the pirates, they escaped from the prison that the Navy is proud of. This means that the faces of their Navy were swollen and swollen. In the future, if you fight against pirates, I am afraid that the Navy will be embarrassed, let alone deter pirates. P.S. ask for a wave of flowers and comment tickets, thank you for your support. The author will work hard to add more. Chapter-007 Kizaru, Speed. No one is faster than me. Advance the city. The navy inside and out has entered the highest alert. Because a pirate escaped from the Red Lotus Hell, this incident became a fuse and completely detonated the atmosphere of the advancing city. Whether it is the navy or the pirates, they are all moved. To be able to escape from the advancing city is extremely terrifying. At this time, the position on the 6th floor under the city sea was advancing. Here, it is called Infinite Hell. The prisoners detained on this floor are all terrifying figures known to pirates. Everyone's bounty is in the hundreds of millions of bells, and anyone who walks out is a powerful monster that shakes the sea. Therefore, the guardians of the Infinite Hell are also extremely strict. The prisons are joined together, and the prisoners are chained and unable to move. Gia Gia. A pirate in a prisoner's uniform grinned and said in a gloomy voice, "Have you heard? The Navy's bastards have let people escape from the advanced city again. It is said that he is still a little pirate from the Red Lotus Hell. If there is a chance, I will definitely pull him to my boat. Although this kid is a stranger, I appreciate him more and more." Escape from the advanced city, this thing is really shocking. Most of the many monster pirates imprisoned in the Infinite Hell are famous in the New World. But when they heard this news, they were also shocked, and immediately sneered, even more disdain for the ability of the Navy. Among them, there are the king of evil politics, the world destroyer, the most vicious woman in the world, the hunter Wakatsuki, and many more giants in the New World, all expressing their inner shock. In a certain prison, a man who looked like a bat was imprisoned by chains. When the news came from his ears, he suddenly opened his eyes, and his scarlet eyes were full of murderous intent. His name is Baroric Redfield. A terrifying powerhouse in the same period as Roger, Whitebeard, Garp, Sengoku and others. One person, comparable to the mighty existence of the 4 emperors. Did anyone escape again? It's really hateful to feel the blood of my own aging. Baloric's scarlet eyes shone brightly, and he whispered to himself. Immediately, he closed his eyes again and fell into a deep sleep. All in all, the news that the pirates escaped from the advanced city swept the entire advanced city. Except for the Navy, all pirates are already well known. Even if the Navy tried its best to hide this news, it still couldn't hide it, and it was inevitable to let the pirates hear it. On the sky, a golden figure suddenly reached the top of the advancing city. In an instant, he turned into a mass of elements and disappeared into the air. The next second, he appeared on the ground and smoothly entered the advanced city. At first glance, he was wearing a golden shirt all over his body, and his appearance was slightly shrunken. With that vague expression, his lazy appearance gave people a full sense of oppression. Chapter-007 Kizaru, Speed. No one is faster than me. And GT, page 1/2. Please click the next page to continue reading. At first glance, he was wearing a golden shirt all over his body, and his appearance was slightly shrunken. With that vague expression, his lazy appearance gave people a full sense of oppression. One of the 3 admirals of the Navy, Kizaru, Pulsolino. Kazuna is coming, go and inform Director Magellan. This time, even Admiral Kizaru was alarmed. No wonder, after all, the second prisoner who escaped from the advanced city should also arouse a response from the Navy headquarters. That pirate is hard to fly. Even if he really escaped from the Push City, but he was chased by General Kizaru, he still couldn't escape from the palm of the general's palm. Tatata. Kizaru entered the advanced city smoothly and found Magellan. The two talked for a while, and the general situation, Kizaru already understood. General Yellow Monkey, what are your plans for this? Magellan asked in a low voice with a heavy face. Strategy. Huang Yuan smiled, his eyes narrowed slightly, turning into a gap, and said with a smile, there is no plan, in short, find him and bring him back to the Push City, right? Yes. Magellan nodded solemnly and said. Then it's over. Kizaru stretched his body lazily and said slowly, I'm good at arresting people. I promise, just bring him back to you. You can tell me about his appearance and features, etc. He is confident that no one can escape the speed of his glittering fruit. General Huang Yuan, be careful, this prisoner is very strange. I don't think his strength is lower than Chihuahai. Although I was careless, he did defeat me at that time. Magellan's face was solemn, and he explained, he used a strange sound wave to make people's heads dizzy and unable to continue to attack. This kind of attack method cannot be stopped even by those with devil fruit abilities. In other words, he won't be domineering at all. Kizaru didn't care and asked again. Probably, except for this weird sonic attack. What's more, his terrifying speed is beyond my words. Magellan shuddered when he recalled the scene when he was dominated by Li Yang's speed. This terrifying speed is simply beyond human beings, and this is an out-and-out monster. Speed. I like to run into opponents of this type the most. Kizaru's eyes flickered, and he said with a smile, because, in the field of speed, no one can be faster than me. General Yellow Monkey, be careful. Magellan looked at the confident Kizaru and wanted to remind, but in the end he didn't speak. Without seeing the ability of the other party, it is naturally impossible for an arrogant general like Kizaru to take his words to heart. In this case, it is better to save some effort. Chapter 008_Walk on the Sea. Advance the city. The water flows with the wind, and raises ripples. Sunlight could not penetrate that foggy area. This fog is used to block those who try to invade the advancing city. Without a specific trajectory and route, it is very difficult to enter or leave the advanced city. And according to the trajectory of the water flow, it is never possible to get close to the advancing city. On a wall outside the advancing city, Li Yang leaned back against the wall, looking at the endless sea in front of him, and the fog blocking his vision. He seemed very relaxed and stretched his waist. Finally, escape. That's right. He completely escaped from the advancing city, and now, he is already in the outer area of the advancing city. Here, no one can stop his speed. The sky is high and the birds can fly, the sea is wide and the fish leaps. Without being imprisoned, Li Yang has absolute confidence to use the current terrifying speed to escape from any desperate place. Propulsion City, known as the world's strongest prison, could not stop him. It's just that without the boat, it's a little troublesome to get out of here. Li Yang looked at the ocean current and thought to himself. There is no boat unless you can walk on the sea yourself. Etc. Walking at sea. For a while. Li Yang's eyes flashed a little, and he jumped with his feet and reached the floor. Going further, it is the vast sea. Sea water, crashing, sounded, hitting the slate, splashing countless water stains. It's fast enough to walk on the sea. Maybe, it's possible. Li Yang's eyes flickered, and he had a plan in his heart. It is not impossible to try to walk on the sea. As long as the speed is fast enough, it is easy to walk on the sea. Even, the speed is fast enough to completely master the moon step and walk in the air. Immediately, he jumped off the slate, his feet just touched the sea water, and he burst into a terrifying speed in an instant. He stepped on the sea water and splashed countless water droplets. The water droplets fell to the sea, and the whole sea was rippling with ripples. It didn't fall. Li Yang smiled even more and whispered. He was stepping on the seawater under his feet, and quickly maintained a high speed. Facts have proved that as long as the speed is fast enough, it is possible to walk on the sea. For example, the current Li Yang maintains a high-speed walking frequency with both feet, and does not drop into the sea at all. Chapter 008_Walking on the Sea. For example, the current Li Yang maintains a high-speed walking frequency with both feet, and does not drop into the sea at all. It's fast, and there are still a lot of practical skills. Not only can he walk on the sea, but after controlling the moon step in the future, his speed will increase to a more obvious height. Flying in the sky, no one can stop his extreme speed. At this time, Li Ang turned his head and looked at the towering advancing city in front of him. However, today, the second prisoner who escaped from the advanced city will finally appear. Goodbye, advance to the city. The corners of Li Ang's mouth twitched, and he smiled faintly. As soon as he turned around, he stepped on the sea with his feet and was about to leave. At the same time, above the sky, a dazzling golden light was suspended in the sky. Even the sunlight cannot easily penetrate the foggy area, but this round of golden light illuminates the entire sea surface, dispelling the darkness caused by the fog. Let a great general come out. Li Ang's eyes narrowed slightly, and his expression was somewhat solemn and serious. It's coming, it's coming. The fastest speed collision in history is coming. The collision of speed and speed, which is stronger or weaker? Seeing the dazzling golden light, he had the answer in his heart and knew who was coming. With such an obvious feature, who else is besides Kizaru, one of the 3 generals of the Navy headquarters? Immediately, Li raised his head and looked at the golden ape standing in the sky, wearing a golden shirt and shining golden all over. The other party was looking at Li Ang below with a very coquettish expression, and he didn't take Li Ang seriously at all. The atmosphere became depressed for a while. When Li Ang looked at Kizaru, the other party also looked at him, and the two looked at each other. Kazuna lightly smiled and said, I said, are you going to go back with me obediently? Or let me do it myself? You are the second prisoner who can escape from the advanced city. However, you can't escape from my palm. Quote. Then I'm going to experience it, General Yellow Monkey, your great trick. Li Ang smiled lightly, unmoved. Now that he has a terrifying speed, let alone Kizaru, even if the 3 generals stand here, he may not be afraid. Although it may not be able to beat. But when it comes to escaping, it's not a problem after all. Huang Yuan's speed is very fast, but no matter how fast he is, he can't reach the level of Li Ang. After systematic modification, Li Ang's speed has already exceeded the table. Just, how far is the speed of the two? This is a very deep question. Chapter 009_Speed and Speed. Why are there always some people who are so stubborn? But anyway, I have nothing to do when I'm free, so I'll play with you, so what? Kazuna laughed, his face full of confidence. Lang Lang said. With the gleaming fruit, he has always been called a leader in the field of speed. Pure speed, no one is faster than him. Even the 4 emperors can't match Kizaru in speed. With glittering fruit, he has a unique innate advantage. Li Ang below can stand on the sea, which means that the other party is not a devil fruit person. But then again, he was still a little surprised when he watched Li Ang walk across the sea. He stepped on the surface of the sea, but did not sink to the bottom of the sea. This means that the opponent's speed is obviously faster than the sinking speed. Every time you are about to sink into the sea, use your other foot to step on the sea surface to bring a buffer to your body. In this way, the feat of walking on the sea can be achieved. But to be able to do such a thing, without a certain speed as a support point, is impossible. You are really confident. After all, generals, there will always be some extraordinary confidence. Li Ang also smiled and remained unmoved. 8-foot mirror. The corner of Huang Yuan's mouth moved slightly, and he held a ball of golden light in his hands. At the same time, his whole body turned into a ball of golden light, and in an instant, after rebounding from the mirror, he appeared in the sea area where Li Ang was standing, and kicked him down. As early as when Kizaru used the devil fruit, Li Ang was ready. With a move of his feet, he stepped on the sea, splashing waves of sea water, and his voice quickly disappeared. Boom! Kizaru's golden kick kicked on the sea surface, causing waves to roll over for more than tens of meters. To avoid being eroded by the sea, his whole body turned into golden light, disappeared directly, and stood in the air again. Looking down, he saw Li Ang who was unscathed, and his expression became more interested. It's very fast, I haven't encountered an enemy of this type for a long time. I hope you can warm me up and don't get caught too quickly by me. I can't guarantee anything else, but I can tell you this clearly. Don't worry, I won't catch it for you, it will never be possible. The corners of Li Ang's mouth were slightly upturned, and he said with a smile on his face. Well. Huang Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly, flashing a bit of cold light. He hummed his nose, and his face was not good. Don't you kick it at the speed of light. Don't get excited, I just warmed up and haven't exploded my full strength yet. Now, let's take a look at the speed between you and me, which is stronger and which is weaker. Li Ang looked at Kizaru's golden right foot, and laughed loudly. He has the confidence to dodge any attack from the other side. Under the circumstance of extreme speed, he has the confidence to dodge any attack. Unless, when the attack is the kind of coverage, and there is no escape, you can only choose hard resistance. Whoosh! The golden monkey turned into a ball of golden light, disappeared into the air, and when it reappeared, it was right next to Li Ang, and threw it away, cutting through the air. Chapter 009_Speed and Speed. The golden monkey turned into a ball of golden light, disappeared into the air, and when it reappeared, it was right next to Li Ang, and threw it away, cutting through the air. Li Ang's speed was not slow. Seeing that the attack of the yellow monkey was about to arrive, he kicked his feet and stepped on the sea. The figure disappeared in place and appeared on the sea dozens of meters away. On his body, not even a trace of sea water touched him, his speed was too fast. Boom! The afterimage that Li Ang hit with one kick was the afterimage left by Li Ang too fast. With the disappearance of Li Ang, the afterimage gradually disappeared, turned into a mass of air, and ceased to exist. You are very good. Kizaru's eyes became dignified, his eyes moved, and they were fixed on Li Ang's body. This is the first time in his history that he has encountered an enemy who can match his speed. Moreover, the most frightening thing is that the other party is not a capable person. It was the first time he had encountered such a terrifying enemy just at the speed of his body. Red Lotus hell, such a prisoner actually appeared. How did the guys who pushed the city do things? Kizaru's heart was full of gloom, his eyes flickered, and his whole body turned into a golden light again. In the blink of an eye, he appeared beside Li Ang, with golden light all over his body, a Thomas circling, but Li Ang easily avoided his attack. Really? The opponent's speed is too fast. Any attack, in the face of this kind of enemy, seems weak and powerless. Can't hit the enemy, even if the power of this move can destroy the world, it is meaningless. There is also a gap between speed and speed, Mr. Kizaru. A smile appeared on Li Ang's face, and he was in a happy mood. The extreme speed provided by the strongest modification system did not disappoint him. Even Kizaru couldn't keep up with his speed. However, this is not his limit. That's right. He didn't burst out with all his strength at all, he was just playing with Kizaru for a little while. The opponent's strength was really strong, and he couldn't shake the opponent yet. But relying on the speed he has, it is impossible for the other party to touch the corner of his clothes. As a result, the two sides presented a stalemate. But you must know that Li Ang is a prisoner, and it is his purpose to escape the advanced city. Kizaru's goal is to capture Li Ang. The purpose is different, and the two have been divided into active and passive. Li Ang took the absolute initiative. If he wanted to escape, he could escape at any time. Even Kizaru couldn't keep him here. P.S. Ask for a wave of flowers, comment tickets, monthly tickets, and rewards. I hope you can actively post comments, so that the author can see that you are reading this book, and the author will have more motivation. Thank you. Chapter 010_Show Your Face. You brat. The blue veins burst out on the forehead of the yellow monkey, and the expression gradually became hideous. He has always been proud of his speed. This is the first time that others have despised his lack of speed. This made him so arrogant, how could he bear it? Immediately, Kizaru turned into golden light and launched a relentless attack on Li Ang. Boom, boom. The sea is majestic and the waves are rolling. A huge attack hit the sea, causing waves of turbulence. Whoa! The sea water stirred up one after another, like a tsunami, splashing dozens of meters high in the air, and gradually landed, smashing out small water holes. Ripples rippling and spread. With a smile on his face, Liang stepped on the sea with his feet, although on the sea, his speed was not as terrifying as on land. But at least, it's still easy to deal with an opponent of the level of Kizaru. If Kazuna knew what he was thinking, he would be so angry that he would vomit blood. What is an opponent of this level? His speed is scary enough. It's just that because Liang's speed is really extreme, this makes Huang Yuan chase after him, but he is also unable to help Liang. There were 23 attacks in total, and none of them touched the corner of my clothes. Mr. Kizaru, if I were you, I could kill you with a piece of tofu. The corners of Liang's mouth twitched, and he laughed and said, "Humph." Huang Yuan snorted coldly, his face was gloomy and uncertain, and his heart was suffocated. It was the first time I met such a flexible opponent. He seemed to see the picture of fighting with the enemy he faced in the past. For a long time, he was mainly flexible, and the enemy was constantly played by him, but there was nothing he could do. Now, Liang's speed is too fast, turning against customers and playing him around. The most terrifying thing is that he can't do anything about Liang, which makes him a little depressed. The rat who hides its head and shows its tail, dared to face me directly. Kizaru gritted his teeth, his face was full of unkindness, and he stared at Liang, his voice a little hoarse. "Mr. Kazuna, you see, do I look like the kind of person who has no brains?" Liang waved his hand and said with a smile. The strongest modification system has not yet given her the ultimate power, and rashly collided with Kizaru, isn't he asking for trouble? This kind of thing, I'm afraid even a fool would not do it. Even if he possesses the ultimate power, he still has to control the armed color in order to shake the elementalization of Kizaru. Otherwise, no matter how strong the power is, if there is no sea-floor stone or armed color, it will be ineffective for the yellow monkey. "Damn boy, don't let me catch you." Kizaru spoke coldly, his tone becoming more and more gloomy. Then, he burst into the strongest speed again, and in the blink of an eye, arrived in front of Liang. At the same time, Liang stepped back, kicked his feet, stepped on the sea water, and disappeared in place. Chapter 010 Show Your Face. Liang stepped back, kicked his feet, stepped on the sea water, and disappeared in place. In terms of speed, he can completely abuse the kiwi. It's not too cool to show in front of a general. Liang thought to himself, feeling happy. Then speed. I show your face. It's just a mere kiwi. Compared with my extreme speed, I still can't get on the stage. At this moment, Huang Yuan completely realized how hard it was when the speed couldn't keep up with the opponent. He was so exhausted that he didn't even touch the corner of Liang's clothes. Not to mention catching the other party back, whether he can meet Liang before the sky lifts the night is a huge problem. Recalling the scene where he swore in front of Magellan and hung up in Heiko before, Kizaru's face was hot for a while. It was too full of words to make him feel ashamed. Now it's not that he hasn't encountered the fugitive, but that he has, but he can't do anything about it. This is more humiliating than not encountering a prisoner, isn't it? Die me. Huang Yuan was impatient, and the whole person was suspended in the sky and turned into a golden light. Buzz. The dazzling golden light illuminated the earth, and one by one circular golden rays of light were hovering around him. The dog is jumping over the wall, and we are going to launch a large-scale bombing. Liang looked at the appearance of Huang Yuan and had a guess in his heart. Bachi Changgu Yu. There was a cold glow on Kizaru's face, and golden glows erupted from the whole body. Taking him as the center point, the photonization jumped into the air and fired countless dazzling light bombs at the target, covering the sea below and attacking rapidly. Boom, boom. The sea was beaten up and down, surging. The sea water vibrated, rolled continuously, and impacted all around. I see how you escape. Kizaru sneered and looked down. Seeing the large-scale attack he made, he nodded idly. But in the same way, there is no one figure in his attack range. You seem to be looking for me. With a smile on his face, Li Ying appeared beside Kizaru. In an instant, he disappeared in a flash, and disappeared without a trace again. Suddenly, Kizaru's wretched face became stiff, full of disbelief, his eyes were wide and round. Is the speed difference so big? P.S. Use flowers and comment tickets to kill the author, you are welcome. Chapter-1-20 value plus 999999. In an instant, Kizaru came back to his senses and kicked the position beside him at the speed of light. However, it was still empty. There is nothing around. Li Ying's figure appeared on the sea in front of him, with a faint smile, looking at Kizaru's position with a very relaxed expression. Yellow monkey's speed. Compared with him, it is nothing compared to nothing. He didn't have any pressure at all, and he could handle the speed of Kizaru's glittering fruit. It's a little out of stamina. Li Ying's face changed slightly, the speed was too fast, and his physical strength was also exhausted very quickly. Just when his breathing got messy, the strongest modification system suddenly appeared. Congratulations to the host, open the modifier, the stamina value is plus 999,999. Comprehend that the sea is open to all rivers, break through the novice, break through the entry, break through the proficient, break through the master, break through the master. With the sound of the system, Li Ying felt that the original breathing rhythm gradually stabilized, and a thick smile appeared on his face. In this way, the problem of lack of physical strength is also solved. Modifying the system is so awesome. The system doesn't talk much, but at critical moments, it always brings Li Ying a huge boost in strength. The physical strength value has also reached the extreme. Now, Li Ying doesn't have any physical weakness. Playing with Kizaru for 3 days and 3 nights, he was so tired that his hands and feet cramped, and I wouldn't have any negative state. At present, in terms of physical strength, even the 4 Emperor Kaido may not have such terrifying physical strength as me. Quote. Li Ying's eyes twinkled brightly, thinking so in his heart. Thinking of this, his mood became more and more excited. The whole body seems to have endless strength and spirit. On the sky. Huang Yuan had a solemn face on Li Ying's face, a little weird. It was obvious that the breathing rhythm was chaotic just now. Now, why is my stamina so abundant all of a sudden? This monster has changed too much. Seeing that the speed could not be comparable to Li Ying, Kizaru had another plan to exhaust Li Ying's physical strength. Obviously, Li Ying just now fell into his plan, and his physical strength was constantly being consumed. But in the blink of an eye, the opponent's physical strength seemed to return to normal. Who can give me an explanation? Kazuna was already mad in his heart. For many years, he had not met such a strange prisoner. Continue to consume, I don't believe that he can last longer than me. Kizaru's face was firm, his whole body turned into a ball of golden light, and he launched a never-ending attack on Li Ying again. The speed is too slow, Kizaru. Li Ying kicked his feet, stepped on the sea, and jumped up. The figure disappeared in the sight of the yellow monkey. Too fast. Huang Yuan didn't have time to react, so he could only watch Li Ying disappear. For the first time, Kizaru failed so thoroughly in the field of speed. Chapter-011 value plus 999999. For the first time, Kizaru failed so thoroughly in the field of speed. He didn't even think that there is a monster like Li Ying in this world, and he is faster than the one with the glittering fruit. After half an hour, Kizaru's face was a little rosy, his breathing was slightly chaotic, and he continued to attack Li Ying relentlessly. And Li Ying still did not blush or panted, calmly. 2 hours later, Huang Yuan stood on the stone slab of the advancing city, his face was bloody, his breathing rhythm was completely chaotic, his eyes were fixed on Liang, and there were some bloodshots. When he saw that Liang was still so calm, the whole person was not very good. This monster. Kizaru gritted his teeth and attacked again. Most of the day was spent in the battle between the two. The advanced city was still in chaos. Unbeknownst to Magellan himself, Liang started a chase with Kizaru outside the advancing city. The final result came. Like a dead dog, the Kiwi sits slumped on the slate with dry lips, staring at Liang, who is still smiling on the sea, doubting his life. How is this possible? His physical strength seems to be endless, is he still not? People. The speed of the collision, the physical consumption is very terrible. And the yellow monkey has always been bursting with all his strength, and his physical strength has been exhausted for most of the day. Liang wore a calm smile from beginning to end, and his breathing rhythm was steady. Under such a terrifying speed chase, his physical strength was not exhausted at all. After all, after the modifier modifies the stamina value, he has no idea what exhaustion feels like. Mr. Kazuna, next time you meet, you have to be careful. Liang looked at Huang Yuan, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and he said with a smile. Because, next time we meet, he already has the ultimate power. At that time, even if we fought again, it was no longer a chase. Rather, he unilaterally murdered. The Navy headquarters could not stop him. I just hope that the people in the Navy headquarters don't do stupid things. Liang narrowed his eyes slightly, glanced at the position of the advancing city, and thought to himself. Provoking him is a very unwise thing. In the sight of Kizaru, Liang stepped on the sea, and his figure gradually disappeared. Even a general can't keep Liang. This time, Kizaru failed miserably. He originally wanted to consume the opponent's physical strength, but in the end, he exhausted himself, which was a bit ridiculous. This time it's troublesome. Huang Yuan looked at the back of Liang leaving, and said with a sullen face. ... P.S. Ask for flowers, comment tickets, monthly tickets, rewards, thank you. Chapter-1-20 Huge Bounty. Naval Headquarters, Marin Vando. Inside the Marshal's office. Boo boo. The arc rang out. Zhongguo rubbed his temples, looked out the window, picked up the phone bug, and asked, I'm Zhongguo. Marshal of the Warring States period, that prisoner, let him escape. Kizaru's voice came out, full of depression. Didn't catch him. Warring States' eyes narrowed. The turmoil brought about by this incident was too great. This is a big upheaval for the Navy headquarters and even the world government. Many years ago, the Golden Lion escaped from the advanced city, the whole sea was boiling, and all kinds of rumors caused a serious blow to the naval headquarters. What do you say that the Navy headquarters are all garbage and so on? Most of these rumors have caused many residents to shake their trust in the Navy. I'm really sorry, his ability was beyond my expectations. My speed couldn't keep up with him, and he finally let him escape. Kizaru's words shocked the Warring States even more. You know, the yellow monkey is the one who has the ability to shine fruit. If it is said that in the world than pure speed, no one can be faster than Kizaru. But now, there is a person who is faster than Kizaru, which has to make him feel a heartbeat. Even if other generals are dispatched, the prisoner who cannot be caught by Kizaru cannot be caught. Are you sure you're serious? Sengoku's face gradually became heavy and asked again. Yes, I've been serious. Is that so? I see, come back. Next, I'll let Magellan pass back all kinds of information about this prisoner and issue a bounty. Yes, Marshal. After hanging up the phone bug, Sengoku's expression became very depressed. The second man who escaped from the advanced city has already escaped. In the current situation where pirates are constantly pouring into the sea, this news comes out again, which proves the incompetence of the Navy. However, he must publish the bounty list. Too many people know about this, and it is impossible to hide it. Second. The Navy cannot cover up this matter because someone has escaped and feels that it is detrimental to the majesty of the Navy. This is very unfair to those residents. For example, there is a murderer lurking in a village. The local Navy couldn't catch him, and he continued to mutilate people who chose to live alone. The biggest responsibility for the casualties is the local Navy. Chapter-1-20 Huge Bounty List. The biggest responsibility for the casualties is the local Navy. In order to cover up their incompetence, they did not disclose the murderers hiding in the village, which resulted in the death of more innocent people. In the Warring States period, he will never allow himself to be like the Navy in the above story. Even if it damages the majesty of the Navy, he must issue a bounty list. Hello, Magellan. What is the command of the Warring States Marshal? Let those who advance in the city do their part. As for the prisoner, he has successfully escaped from the city. Even if you continue to search inside, you will not be able to find any trace of him. What? Has he escaped? Yes, now I want you to post all his information, and I want to issue a bounty to him. Yes, Marshal. After talking with Magellan, Warring States hung up the phone, staring at the blue sky and white clouds outside the window. With a heavy breath, the depression on his face could not be dissipated for a long time. Soon, Magellan released all kinds of information about Liang, and the Warring States period also simulated a reward list. At first glance, the images in the reward list are 8 or 9 points similar to Liang. The amount of the reward below the image has not yet been determined. Warring States fell into thought, and finally, slowly said, for the time being, it's 300 million berry. He can already predict what kind of turmoil it will bring to the whole sea after the release of this bounty list. An unknown junior, the reward list that just appeared is as high as 300 million berry. This is simply unprecedented. Compared with those monster giants in the New World, the bounty is higher. However, the amount of the reward was a figure that was only obtained after the Warring States period had thought about it. The most crucial point is what Liang did. He escaped from the advanced city. In the face of such fugitives, the Navy headquarters will not tolerate it. Therefore, this reward amount also represents the attitude of the Navy headquarters. Have a small meeting and ask their opinion. Warring States looked at the preliminary customized reward list in his hand. His face was expressionless, and he thought a little heavy. Afterwards, he dialed the phone bug, notified many people, and went to the conference room to discuss the most serious matter at hand. Naturally, the of this incident is that Liang escaped from the advanced city. Not many people came to the meeting, but they all represented the mainstay of the Navy headquarters. Among them are Lieutenant General Garp, Lieutenant General Crane, Aokiji, Akainu, and others, all of whom are high-ranking officials of the Navy headquarters. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for comment tickets, ask for rewards, ask for monthly tickets, ask for everything, asterisk. Chapter-013 Shock at the top of the Navy. Conference room. Karp buckled his ears, his face full of impatience, and said, Warring States, you old guy, what are you calling me to come here for? I don't have time to spend time with you here. Cap, be quiet. Lieutenant General Crane gave Garp a dissatisfied look and said lightly. Sengoku sat at the head, looking at Garp and many other mainstays of the Navy on the left and right. His face was very heavy, he was not smiling, and the atmosphere became depressed. Even Garp restrained his smile and looked at Sengoku with some suspicion. This expression of the other party has not appeared in a long time. Although the Warring States period has always been serious, there is rarely such an expression of preparedness. Calling everyone here is to talk about a big event that just happened recently. Warring States looked at everyone, handed out the reward list in his hand, his face was extremely depressed. Garp was the first to accept the reward list, glanced at the image above and the amount of the reward, and looked at the Warring States in a bit of astonishment. Warring States, are you crazy? Look carefully before you speak. Sengoku shook his head and continued. Hearing this, Carp carefully looked at the introduction on the bounty list. Open black lens bracket name, Li Ying close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket sex, male close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket age, 20 close black lens bracket. Introduction. In history, the second man who escaped from the advanced city, the incarnation of the devil, extremely vicious and terrifying strength. Suggestion. Whenever you find this fugitive, please contact the Navy headquarters as soon as possible. Remember to act alone, his strength is terrifying. ... Carp's throat was dry, and he lost his voice. The second person who escaped from the advanced city. Just this young guy. He actually escaped from the advanced city. What? Everyone present was shocked. Lieutenant General Crane, Akainu, and Aokiji looked at the reward list in Garp's hand. At this time, Garp handed the reward list to everyone so that they could clearly see the S. When they saw the bounty list, they all fell silent. Back then, when the Golden Lion escaped from the Navy headquarters, the whole world boiled over. At this moment, there was a second person who escaped from the advanced city. The negative impact of this incident on the Navy headquarters was too great. Why not hide it? Lieutenant General Crane focused on the interests of the naval headquarters for the first time. If I can, I'd like to cover it up too. But there are too many people who know about this, and it's impossible to hide it. I can only make it public and let everyone know. At least, this way, the Navy is still taking the initiative. Quote. Sengoku took a deep breath and replied. How did he do it? The advanced city is so tightly guarded that not even a single mosquito can get out. The key is, how did he escape the advanced city? Akainu asked with a heavy face. Then, Warring States once again said another big news. He escaped from the hands of the yellow monkey. That is to say, the yellow monkey can't keep him. Silence. The huge conference room was silent. If it is said that the other party can escape from the advanced city, there is really a possibility of opportunism. Chapter 013 _ The Shock of the Navy High Level, NGT, page 1/2. Please click on the next page to continue reading. If it is said that the other party can escape from the advanced city, there is really a possibility of opportunism. However, being able to escape from Kizaru's hands means that the opponent possesses terrifying strength. Isn't this kid Huang Yuan unable to keep him? Carp's eyes narrowed and he said solemnly. This matter is not trivial. Once this reward list is released, the whole sea will boil. At that time, the world government will be convicted, and all the responsibility will fall on the head of the Navy headquarters. The scary thing is, what is the response of the civilians to this when it spreads out? Look, there is no problem with this reward amount, right? The Warring States' face is still serious, said. No problem. No comments. 300 million berry, which is in line with the amount of his bounty. Quote. Everyone expressed their opinions, and no one objected. The reward amount for Li Yang has also been decided. 300 million berry. A pirate who had never brought any influence at sea in the past was suddenly issued a bounty worth 300 million berries. This is the first time in history that the Navy has released it, and it started with a huge bounty of 300 million. Ordinary pirates, even the 4 emperors, used to increase the bounty amount step by step. It has never appeared, like Li Yang, at the beginning, it started with 300 million berry. Everyone, do you have any other opinions? You can put them forward. Sengoku continued to ask. If Kyabu can't even catch him, we have no chance. Aokiji's face was calm and he said slowly. As soon as his words came out, everyone present was silent. Really? Everyone knows that the speed of the yellow monkey is already the fastest among all the people present, but even the yellow monkey can't keep the other party. Then, even if they meet each other one day, they may not be able to win each other. Therefore, the bounty list is just a statement of the attitude of the Navy headquarters, and it does not mean much. Since everyone has no opinion, Next, we can wait and see if he has any follow-up movements. Then, we will follow his actions and carry out follow-up actions. At present, we do not have the ability to arrest him. Although he didn't want to admit it, Sengoku still admitted it truthfully. Navy headquarters, unable to take down the opponent. This is a fact. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for comment tickets, ask for monthly tickets, ask for rewards, ask for everything. Chapter 014_famous in the sea. Sunny. The sea surface is golden, light gold, shining brightly. In the sky, stacks of paper hang from the corners of the seagulls' mouths, wandering around the world, and there are many communications from the world government. If there is any trouble, the civilians can only know the specific information in the newspapers and periodicals distributed by the seagulls. On the sea, a pirate ship sails. The sea is vast and boundless, and countless pirates have emerged, but it is still impossible to make the sea crowded. The density of the population is far less than the area of the sea. A raft, rippling on the sea, moving with the wind. A man in a black shirt stood on the raft with an expressionless face. He was carrying a huge knife, which was very conspicuous, showing the appearance of a cross. A pair of eyes, like the eyes of an eagle, are extremely sharp and imposing. One of the king's 7 wuhei, Hawkeye, Jorakal Mahawk. A reward list floated down from the sky, and he grabbed it in his hand. After carefully scanning the information above, Hawkeye's face showed a bit of surprise. The second man who escaped from the advanced city. Eagle-eyed sharp eyes looked at the reward list, and saw a portrait drawn on the reward list and the description below. Bounty, 300 million berry. Only 1 feet. That is, the second man who escaped from the advanced city. Just because of this incident, he was given a reward of 300 million berry, which is unprecedented. The sea is about to boil again. Now countless pirates are rushing into the sea frantically, and the Navy obviously has no time to take care of it. At this moment, there is another prisoner who escaped from the advanced city. The Navy headquarters will be so annoying. Hawkeye's face was calm, and he said lightly. Immediately, he waved his hand and threw the reward list to the sea next to it, and gradually sank into the sea. This event will cause huge turbulence to the sea. But he didn't care about that. The only thing that can make him care about is swordsmanship. The rest, he doesn't care. Unless the person in this bounty list is a master swordsman with superb swordsmanship, he can get his attention a little. Otherwise, just escaping from the advancing city will not attract much attention from Hawkeye. Of course. He also remembered such a number 1 person in his heart. After all, no one who could escape from the advanced city was a soft persimmon. Over the years, countless prisoners have been detained in the advancing city, and they are not generally some New World monster powerhouses. But none of them had the ability to escape from the advancing city. Only 2 people can escape from the advanced city. The first one, Golden Lion Shiki, the admiral of the Flying Sky Pirates, was a terrorist giant of the same era as Roger and Whitebeard. It also took him 2 legs to escape from the advancing city. Chapter 014_famous in the sea. It also took him 2 legs to escape from the advancing city. From the current point of view, this second prisoner who escaped from the advancing city is obviously more clever than the Golden Lion. Even in the introduction on the bounty list, there was no physical condition of the other party. Seeing this, Hawkeye has an answer in his heart. I'm afraid that this person escaped from the advanced city unscathed, but the people in the Navy headquarters deliberately ignored this point and lost a bit of face. But this has nothing to do with me. However, if the red-haired guy hears it, he should be very excited. Forget it, let's talk to him. I haven't played against him for a long time. Hawkeye's eyes twinkled brightly, looking forward, thinking so in his heart. Seagulls are quite efficient. In the blink of an eye, this latest bounty list was almost dispatched to the hands of pirates and bounty hunters. And Li Ang's reputation is almost known to everyone. Not because of the bounty. There are still a large number of pirates with a bounty of 300 million berry. What can make people remember Liang's name is because of his actions. As the second man who escaped from the advancing city, his name should be remembered by people. The Golden Lion is already a member of the older generation who has passed away. The closest to now, Liang, who escaped from the advanced city, naturally became the object of discussion. Whether it is the pirates or the navy stationed in various small towns, they are all discussing this matter. Brother, have you heard? Another prisoner escaped from the advanced city. Really, this is the largest prison in the world, so easily escaped by prisoners. No, these guys in the Navy really have a hard time. The people inside couldn't be guarded, and they let him escape. This makes us ordinary people how to live. The bounty is 300 million berg, but this is the first time I have heard of this name. Is it only the incident of escaping from the advanced city? What did he do to harm people before? Quote. There was a lot of discussion, and rumors were flying around. The whole sea is talking about the latest news. The second man who escaped from the advanced city was really shocking. Where is advanced city? If you are trapped, it is a prison where not even mosquitoes can fly out. Unexpectedly, after many years, after everyone almost forgot the feat of the Golden Lion, a second man who escaped from the advanced city appeared again. Under the strict guards of many navies, he escaped from the advanced city easily unscathed. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for comment tickets, ask for monthly passes, ask for rewards, ask for anything. Thank you everyone. Chapter-1-20 New World Boiling. New World. Dressrosa. Known as the Island of Love and Flowers, the island has a very large flow of people, pedestrians come and go, and it is very lively. Women on the island dare to love and hate. When you are loyal, you will be very specific. But if he finds that his man is stealing, he will turn into a devil and have infinite murderous intentions. The highest point on the island is called the King's Heights. This is where the king of the island lives. The clown who is famous in the underground world, and the Don Quixote family, live in the King's Heights. At this time, beside a clear swimming pool in Wangji Heights, Doflamingo crossed his legs, sitting on a chair and wearing sunglasses, very leisurely. At this time, a middle-aged man who ruined the image of the uncle is gradually approaching. His nose is running, and there is a strong odor wafting from his body, which can be smelled far away. Young master. Torapal, the top cadre of the Don Quixote family, came to Doflamingo's side and said in a low voice. I've told you many times, don't get too close to me. Doflamingo had blue veins on his forehead, and the stench in the air made him unbearable. Young master, there is a piece of news from the naval headquarters of the Great Waterway. Now, not only the Great Waterway, but the whole new world is boiling over it. Torapal sucked in his nose and laughed in disgust. At first glance, he still had a few teeth, which seemed very wretched. What news? Doflamingo asked lightly, still smiling. Someone escaped from the advanced city. Torapal's face was also a little dignified, said. Well. Doflamingo stood up from the chair, his brows furrowed, and he smelled something unusual. Second, the prisoner who escaped from the advanced city. Yes, this is his reward list. The amount of the reward has already reached 300 million berries. Torapal handed over a bounty and said. 300 million bergs. Brother Doflamingo glanced at the S of the reward list, narrowed his eyes slightly, and threw the reward list away. His mood could not calm down for a long time. Immediately, the corners of his mouth twitched, and his smile was a little grim. It's so interesting, the more chaotic this sea, the better. He felt that the new world was about to be in chaos. If the second prisoner who escaped from the advanced city enters the new world, will it affect the current situation? I'll go out. Doflamingo moved his fingertips, and the invisible lines fluttered in the air. He stepped on the lines and realized the ability to fly at high altitudes. In a blink of an eye. Chapter-1-20 The New World is Boiling. In a blink of an eye. Doflamingo disappeared in the King's Heights and left Dressrosa. New World, on an island. Crackling. On the firewood, the flames were burning, and there were bursts of harsh sounds. Sitting around the fire was a group of pirates, laughing and talking. "Boss, the latest bounty list, this is incredible, come and see." A fat man holding a chicken leg, his mouth full of oil, holding a reward list in his left hand, walked to a middle-aged man. One look. The middle-aged man wore a white shirt with only half of the buttons, a long black cape, white cropped trousers with printed patterns, and flip-flops under his feet. His distinctive red hair became his most distinctive feature. There were 3 scars on his left eye, and there was a bit of stubble around his mouth. They are in the New World. No one knows them. One of the 4 emperors, the captain of the red-haired pirates, red-haired Shanks. The red-haired man held the bounty list and read the S carefully before laughing. Interesting. The second man who escaped from the advanced city, is still so young, it is simply too interesting. Boss, this time, those guys in the Navy are so angry that their noses are crooked. No, advancing the city, there are fugitives again, which puts the Navy's face to rest. But then again, this person's ability is not small. If he can escape from the advanced city, it means that he has a good level of strength. Quote. Everyone laughed and talked. You say, how about I invite him into the boat? The redhead held a glass of wine and slammed it into his mouth. Lang smiled. People were not surprised by the redhead's rash proposal. Everyone looked at each other, laughed, and spoke in unison. I agree. This person is very capable. If he can be pulled into the boat, it will be of great benefit to our pirate group. But at the same time, there is a lot of trouble along with it. Those guys in the world government should not let him go. It's just that in the New World, it's not the Navy, or the chassis of the world government. If this guy gets into the ship, then if the people from the Navy or the world government come, I will let them go back and forth. Quote. The whole New World is boiling. The 4 emperors, Chiwahai, and some New World giants were all driven by this news. Even some things that were originally planned have been pushed forward in advance. The New World, the undercurrent is surging. P.S. Ask for a wave of flowers, comment tickets, monthly tickets, big brothers and sisters, dedicate the flower tickets in your hands to the author, thank you. Chapter-016_Dreadbark. The Great Channel, the Magic Triangle. The fog is shrouded in mist, the sunlight cannot penetrate, it is humid and cold all the year round, it is dark, and you can't see your fingers. Every year, as many as 100,000 people go missing in this area. When the pirate ship sails to this sea area, it will soon become foggy, so it will be impossible to escape here for a lifetime, and eventually will die. The sea is flowing, and the pirate ships that have long been rotten are constantly floating in the sea with the current. On the boat, there are skeletons, ferocious and terrifying. These people have been dead for many years, and the skeletons that remain are all eaten by insects. Occasionally, I can see that on the bones of Bai Wawa, there are insects, which makes the scalp numb. Known as the world's largest pirate ship, the 3 terrifying sailboats, are located in this area. He. A sharp, ear-piercing laughter echoed on this huge ship. In fact, this ship, which can also be called an island, is so vast that there is no end in sight. A very tall figure lingers here. He has a fiery hairstyle, looks like a devil, has 2 horns on the side of his forehead, pointed ears and teeth, and has crisscross stitches that resemble wounds from his head to his neck. He wears a shirt with a bat collar and a brother. Clothing of German art. One of the 7 Wuhei under the king, Moonlight Moria. It's fun, and it's fun that someone has escaped from the Push City again. Moonlight Moria held a reward list, and the smile echoed around, making people feel terrified. Beside him, he followed an obese and wretched middle-aged hogbuck, known as a genius doctor. There are also Absalom and Princess Mononoke Perona, who gathered in the castle, gathered together and talked very happily. Advanced City. Abu Shalom's face showed a bit of shock. Is that the prison known as the largest prison in the world and the most impossible to escape? That's right. Moonlight Moria laughed and said with a sneer, the Navy group of rice buckets is so ridiculous that they let people escape from the Advanced City. Does this show that the Navy has become more and more vulnerable? Lord Mariah, what are your instructions? Hogbuck rolled his eyes and asked. Behind him stood a maid who resembled a puppet. She used to be a popular singer. She died in the end, but was stitched up again by him and turned into something that was neither human nor ghost. The bounty of 300 million berries is almost higher than mine. However, what I'm more curious about is how he escaped. Moonlight Moria's eyes narrowed slightly, and his unique sharp laughter came out. The huge castle, the surrounding environment is dim all the year round. The entire terrifying three-masted sailing ship, accompanied by this sharp laughter, even the crows retreated and flew into the sky. On the ground, zombies crawled out and wandered around. The scene is like a picture of a horror scene, which makes people tense and numb. The dirt piled up, graves, stone tablets, and the dark environment made this place even more gloomy. Chapter 016_horror bark. The dirt piled up, graves, stone tablets, and the dark environment made this place even more gloomy. The breeze came, and the branches swayed like the sound of a devil grinding his teeth. At this moment, on the edge of the dread bark, whoa! The sea splashed up, and a figure walked on the sea, stepping on the sea. The scene made people feel a burst of heart palpitations. This person is Li Ang, who escaped from the Advanced City. After escaping from the Advanced City, he immediately burst into full speed and rushed to the nearby island. Without a specific designated route, before he knew it, he entered the magic triangle. The surrounding fog was so clear that he couldn't tell the direction at all. However, under his terrifying speed, he soon found a huge pirate ship similar to an island. Li Ang stepped on the sea, and in the next second, he appeared on the edge of the terrifying three-masted sailboat and landed ashore. Magic triangle, horror bark. He raised his head and looked at the scene in front of him. The huge pirate flag was looming in the darkness. This is a ship. A huge sailboat with a huge area like an island. Unexpectedly, quietly, unexpectedly came here. The distance between the Advanced City and the Magic Triangle is still far away, but because of Li Ang's own terrifying speed and inexhaustible physical strength, he easily crossed the huge distance and reached the Magic Triangle. Moreover, Li Ang's path forward is indistinguishable. He didn't even know which island he would reach in the next moment. In the end, came to the Magic Triangle, the terrifying three-masted sailboat known as the Ghost Island. I don't know, what era is it now, and Moonlight Moria, has he been punished by the Bartholomew Bear? Li Ang's eyes flickered, and he moved towards the dark area in front of him. Ahead, the forest was dark, and the five fingers could not be reached. The surrounding fog is shrouded in fog, completely blocking the sun. Here, there is no day, 24 hours, every moment is a scene of night. This made Li Ang feel a little more comfortable. I don't know if it was because of his personality, but he still liked this kind of environment. It was cold in the dark, and there was no sunlight. Moreover, it also maintains a highly quiet atmosphere all year round. Isolated and undisturbed. P.S. Thank you readers, remember to keep the flowers, comment tickets, and monthly tickets in this book. Thank you. Chapter 017_Swordsman Dragon Horse. Inside the forest. Muddy mud, and graves, steles, etc. To commemorate people who died. A cool breeze blew in, and the branches swayed. The scene was so bizarre that it was outrageous, and the scalp was numb. Li Ang was walking in the forest alone, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. He was not panicked by the strange atmosphere at the scene. On the contrary. Entering the forest and feeling the cold and damp atmosphere, Liang himself felt that he liked this environment. Very dark, no light at all. Compared to those sunny and bright places, Liang prefers to live in this dark and humid environment. The soil on the ground was surging. A hand stretched out from the ground, the soil was loose, and a zombie appeared in his sight. Zombie. The corners of Liang's mouth were slightly raised, and he smiled lightly. The zombie looked at Liang dumbly and roared, "Ow!" And, the zombies take the initiative to attack his position. Too slow. Liang shook his head, moved his steps, and disappeared in place. Next second, he appeared beside the zombie and carefully observed the structure of the zombie. After observing it again, I found that the zombies are also like this, and there is nothing surprising. The power of the shadow fruit. Obviously, the existence of zombies is because of Moonlight Moria's devil fruit ability. Most zombies have the ability to think independently only after being forced into their shadows. But again, zombies absolutely obey orders. Although they kept their past memories, they had no way to disobey the orders given by Moonlight Moria. Liang picked up a knife from a nearby position and slashed at the zombie's forehead. Puff! The whole head rolled on the ground, and the zombie turned into a headless zombie. Immediately after, Liang continued to walk in the forest, not only saw human zombies, but also saw a lot of animal zombies, flying in the sky, running on the ground, different types, countless. Looking at it this way, the ability of shadow fruit seems to be quite interesting. With a smile on his face, Liang thought to himself. I don't know, if Moonlight Moria knew what he was thinking, what kind of mood would it be? Devil fruits, are they just fun? Shouldn't it be described as tyrannical? I'm afraid, Moonlight Moria knows Liang's thoughts and will be so angry that he vomits blood. Chapter 017_Swordsman Dragon Horse. I'm afraid, Moonlight Moria knows Liang's thoughts and will be so angry that he vomits blood. Liang was walking in the dark forest, and with his arrival, the soft soil would always appear one by one palms, emerging from the ground. The scene was very strange. But these zombies are basically not threatening to Liang. Relying solely on speed, Liang can remain invincible in the world, even if he expands with those top giants. Zombies shouted when they saw Liang's appearance. Run away, the devil is here. Go and inform Lord Moria that a terrifying monster has logged in. Countless zombies were terrified and quickly fled from here. Am I that scary? Liang wiped his nose, shook his head helplessly and chuckled. The air is slightly humid, and because there is no sunlight all year round, the temperature here has always been in a cold state, which is very balanced. 24 hours, with little variation throughout the day. Ta-ta-ta. A footstep sounded. Liang stopped and looked back at the visitor, showing a bit of surprise. A single zombie is gradually approaching. He held a sword blade, and was covered in a white cloth, with a dark blue scarf hanging across his neck. His hair was pure white, and a pure white cloth was wrapped to cover his face. Finally, he stood in front of Liang with an expressionless face, his eyes fixed on Liang. Zhonghao Longma. Liang showed a hint of surprise and smiled. But here, it is normal to encounter swordsmen and dragons. Of course, today's swordsman Ryoma has been stuffed into another shadow by Moonlight Moria. And this shadow, before the Straw Hat Pirates came, was Brook, who was about to get on board. Originally strong, coupled with the shadow of Brook's proficient swordsmanship, this zombie has become powerful. You are very strong. The swordsman Longma looked at Liang, his lips moved slightly, and his voice seemed a little low. Are you going to try it? Liang's mouth moved slightly, and he chuckled. If possible, I would like to compare swords with you. Swordsman Ryoma has no emotion, said. Better. Liang thought about it and smiled. I don't want to be cheap. Chapter 018_Sword Come on. Swordsman Longma, holding a black sword Chushui, very focused, said. With his strong body and Brook's tyrannical shadow, his strength is already terrifying. Of course, this is for the zombies on the entire island. If he was pulled out, compared with the pirates in the sea, he would be vulnerable. But relatively speaking, his swordsmanship level is very superb. Otherwise, his reputation would not have spread in Wano for many years. Many people in Wano Kingdom put the name of Dragon Slayer Swordsman in their mouths, and they have always been the object of belief, worship, and pursuit of swordsmen of Wano Kingdom. Well, I'll take a branch and discuss the sword with you. Li Ang put away his smile and said lightly. Branch. Janao Longma's tone was a little irritable, and his mood became depressed for Li Ang's words. Comparing his swordsmanship with branches is a contempt for his swordsmanship. He would never allow someone to despise his swordsmanship so much. He once held the autumn water and slashed the dragon in the sky. Battle Dragon Swordsman, Ryoma. Wait a second. Li Ang walked to the mouse next to him, broke a branch, and tore apart the forked twigs and leaves, becoming naked. The branches are 1 meter too long and about 5 centimeters thin. Holding the branch, Li Ang returned to the swordsman Longma again. This pose, newbie, someone who doesn't understand swords. I'm so disappointed. The swordsman Longma looked at Li Ang's posture holding a branch, and couldn't help shaking his head, sighing in his heart. The strength of a swordsman can be judged from the posture, momentum, and pace of holding the sword. Obvious. Li Ang's posture of holding the branch, in the eyes of the swordsman Longma, is vulnerable. Even the footsteps are obviously novice. He didn't understand, the man in front of him was obviously a novice, how could he dare to propose a duel with him using a branch? However, he didn't know that Li Ang had the strongest modification system. At the same time, the system really didn't disappoint Li Ang, and there was a beep sound in his head. Congratulations to the host, open the modifier, swordsmanship plus 999,999. Comprehend the unity of man and sword, break through the novice, break through the entry, break through the proficient, break through the master, break through the master. For a moment, Li Ang's swordsmanship level has reached the peak directly. He closed his eyes slightly, holding a branch in his hand, and the original jerky posture gradually became what he wanted. The level of swordsmanship, from novice, breakthrough to master. Chapter 018_Sword Master. The level of swordsmanship, from novice, breakthrough to master. Even if the person in front of him is Hawkeye, Li Ang is not afraid of pure swordsmanship competition. The ultimate speed can crush the yellow monkey. The pinnacle of swordsmanship can naturally crush Hawkeye. The strongest modification system has never disappointed Li Ang. What will happen when the extremes of speed and swordsmanship are combined in the same person? Li Ang, who was holding a branch, exuded a fierce sword energy from his body, gradually restrained himself, and his eyes burst into a bright light, looking directly at the swordsman Longma in front of him. Li Ang's change made the swordsmen and horses bewildered. What's the situation? The other party was clearly holding the branch just now, and he was a novice. In the blink of an eye, the sword energy on the opponent's body made him feel the pressure. It's weird. The swordsman Longma said in a low tone. Perhaps. Li Ang's footsteps changed slightly, his eyes focused on the swordsman Longma in front of him, holding a branch. In his hand, the branch seemed to have spirituality. A sword chi rose into the sky, and a terrifying aura filled the air, causing the swordsman Longma to feel a sense of oppression in his heart. But at the same time, what was more in his heart was the surging fighting spirit. The person in front of him is very strong, and his swordsmanship is very strong. To be able to possess this sword energy and aura, would definitely not be a novice. Although the performance of the opponent just now was obviously a novice, at this moment, the performance of the opponent is already the breath of a great swordsman. At this time, Li Ang's whole body went to this station, which was the focus. If there was a faint sword energy on his body, it was scattered around, and the momentum was like a rainbow. The oppressed dragon and horse couldn't help but take a few steps back. Come on, let me see the strength level of the Dragon Slayer swordsman. Li Ang best evoked an arc and smiled lightly. The pinnacle of swordsmanship will be fully displayed in his hands. Today, he is no longer a person who can only rely on speed to escape. Possessing the ultimate swordsmanship, even if he looks at the new world, he can be regarded as a terrifying powerhouse. Of course. At present, he still lacks domineering mastery. If he even mastered domineering, he alone would represent a terrifying force. The ultimate domineering, the ultimate speed, the ultimate swordsmanship, the ultimate physical strength, etc., so many extreme attributes, blessing on a person. One can imagine what a terrifying monster this is. P.S. 4 shifts, ask for flowers, comment tickets, monthly tickets, and rewards. Thank you. Chapter-1-20 Swordsmanship. 4 Emperors. Navy Headquarters. Revolutionary Army. Chihuahai. Li Ang alone can represent the entire force, without the need for the weak from vassals. One person can defeat the 4 emperors. One person is better than the 4 emperors. At this time, Li Ang held a branch, and his body was filled with a fierce sword energy, which made the swordsman Longma dare not act rashly, and his mood gradually became heavy. Great swordsman. The swordsman Longma lowered his head and said solemnly. He could feel that Li Ang's sword energy was more turbulent than his. This is the level of swordsmanship that belongs to the top swordsman. It is unbelievable that he has encountered such a terrible swordsmanship master here. However, when he met Li Ang, he became more and more excited and said, I, Ryoma, ask for a duel. To be able to compete with such a powerful swordsman in pure swordsmanship, I have no regrets in this world. Quote. It's not necessary, really. The corners of Li Ang's mouth were slightly raised, and he smiled lightly. Could it be that your excellency looks down on you? The swordsman Longma held the black sword Chushui, and his voice was a little low. The gap is too big. If it was before you were alive, maybe I would have a test with you. But now you are not who you were before you were alive. Li Ang shook his head and said slowly with a smile. Hearing this, Janao Longma also fell into silence, not saying a word. My swordsmanship is the ultimate swordsmanship, let you feel what is the ultimate swordsmanship. Li Ang's mouth moved slightly, his feet moved, and the whole person disappeared beside the swordsman Longma. Call out. With a terrifying slash, the dazzling sword light passed by Janao Longma's ear, making him sluggish, and the black knife in his hand fell to the ground along the trajectory. A slash, bringing him the breath of death. Although he was already dead, he couldn't even describe how terrifying this slash had reached. Even in his lifetime, he could not cope with this slash. The gap is very far. Boom. The slash hit the ground behind the dragon and the horse, and the entire terrifying 3-masted sailboat was cut with an obvious crack, and the sea below could be seen. It can be seen how tyrannical the power of this slash is. Is this your ultimate swordsmanship? Sure enough, it's called the ultimate, and it really is the ultimate. Come to think of it, in this world, your swordsmanship deserves to be number 1. The swordsman Longma was full of emotion, looked at Li Ang, and said with admiration. Chapter-019 Swordsmanship. The swordsman Longma was full of emotion, looked at Li Ang, and said with admiration. He is now completely out of the mind to duel with Li Ang. This slash cut off the board of the ship, and even his self-confidence was cut off. Even though he once killed even dragons in the sky, but now, facing Li Ang's terrifying swordsmanship, he had to admit that his swordsmanship was too far away from Li Ang. Your Excellency, you must be the number 1 swordsman and the greatest swordsman in the world. The swordsman Longma said with admiration. Li Ang's slash quickly convinced him and developed into a loyal fan. This is just a branch. Li Ang held the branch in his hand, smiled faintly, and said. The slashes launched by the branches can bring such tyrannical power. If it is said that Li Ang is holding a famous sword, what kind of terrifying power will it bring? The ultimate swordsmanship, this is the real ultimate swordsmanship. There is no flaw. Your Excellency is young, but you are already standing at the top of the swordsmanship. It can be said to make people sigh. The swordsman Ryoma was very respectful and said again. However, what he didn't know was that Li Ang was a little wight who didn't even know swordsmanship a moment ago. Under the modification of the modifier, the next moment, he already has the world's top swordsmanship level. Compared with Hawkeye, it is not inferior at all. Even the ultimate swordsmanship is beyond the reach of Hawkeye. The system does not deceive me. Li Ang thought so in his heart and smiled. With a modification system, he himself represents the ultimate in every field. Whether it is speed, or physical strength, swordsmanship, etc., in all aspects, he is standing at the top position. Therefore, he is not in a hurry to improve his strength. As long as there is plenty of time, he will get more extreme power in the future. With such a reliable system, what Li Ang needs to consider now is how to use these forces that are enough to shake the world. What's more, is how he uses these powers to make himself happier. It is a fool's behavior to have no power but not knowing how to keep yourself happy all the time. For the time being, it would be nice to live here. Li Ang raised his head and looked at the dim environment. The more he looked, the more he liked it. The horror bark, the gloomy environment, the quiet atmosphere, this is the place he likes to live for a long time. Possibly, it is different from ordinary people. But people have to have some hobbies that are very different, which is understandable. P.S. Present at 5th, ask for flowers, comment votes, thank you. Chapter-020 _ Horse presents sword. Sir, since you lack weapons, why don't you use mine? Swordsman Ryoma hurriedly suggested. He believed that in the hands of Li Ang, the black knife and autumn water could better show its level and prestige. He had accompanied him to fight for many years, and eventually became a zombie again, and Heidao Chushui did not leave his side. But the black knife Chushui is a knife that needs blood to temper. He can no longer bring any prestige and battle to Chushui, and can only contribute it to a person who really needs it. Obviously, Li Ang is the most suitable candidate for him. This top swordsmanship, holding a black knife in autumn water, is not suitable. He was very confident in his heart. The black blade autumn water in Li Ang's hands would make it even more radiant, and once again let everyone in the sea know its prestige. Black knife autumn water. Li Ang looked at this famous knife, showing a bit of surprise. He knew that Janao Longma was serious. However, this is not what Li Ang needs. Swordsmanship is only one of the ultimate powers he possesses, not all of them. Therefore, he does not need to carry a saber with him, let alone any weapons. One day, his fist will be the most terrifying weapon. Your weapon will have a master. However, not me. Li Ang showed a meaningful smile and said. Now he has the ultimate swordsmanship. Even let the swordsman Longma be called the greatest swordsman in the world. So, does it mean that Sauron will chase in his direction in the future? But even if he works hard, can he really overcome his extremes? The answer is impossible. With a modifier in his arms, no matter how hard the people around him are, he can't compare to the fact that he has reached the top of swordsmanship in an instant. Whether it's Sauron or Hawkeye, along with his reputation, I'm afraid they will keep coming in the future to challenge Li Ang's reputation for swordsmanship. It's a pity that no matter how many people come, they are all doomed to fail. Li Ang's swordsmanship is already the pinnacle, and there is no possibility of defeat. Coupled with his terrifying speed, the swordsmanship he performed was unable to capture even the shadows. In this way, if you want to fight him, as long as you can persist for 3 minutes without defeat, it is already very remarkable. Is that so? The swordsman Longma was a little frustrated. If he could, he still wanted to give Li Ang the black sword. He believes that only Li Ang has the qualification to hold a black knife and autumn water. However, since the other party has no intention of accepting it, he does not dare to continue to entangle. Liang's swordsmanship is the power he admires the most. Before meeting Liang, Ryoma thought that his own swordsmanship was already very terrifying. But after meeting Liang, he realized that there are too many masters in this world, and the Liang he met represents the world's top swordsman master. Chapter 020_Dragon Horse presents the sword. But after meeting Liang, he realized that there are too many masters in this world, and the Liang he met represents the world's top swordsman master. Liang just launched a slash, and the swordsman Longma was deeply impressed. As a swordsman, Ryoma naturally knew that the realm of Liang's blow was far beyond his comprehension, and he could not comprehend that realm in his entire life. It is precisely because of this that Liang, who is so young and possesses terrifying swordsmanship skills, admires Liang, a swordsman, in his heart. If he is still alive, that's fine. At least, he thought so himself. If he is still alive, then he can follow in Liang's footsteps and learn more esoteric swordsmanship. It is a pity that he has already died, and now all that survives are his wreckage and remnants, no longer a living person, but a half-dead zombie. Live, I'll settle here. If you have any questions about swordsmanship in the future, you can come to me. Of course, if you die, it will all be empty talk. Liang looked at Zhanao Longma and said lightly. Is it really possible? The swordsman Ryoma was excited and asked quickly. In the past, he did not speak, and his performance was even more gloomy. That's because he didn't encounter anything that would make him turbulent. Now, when he heard Liang's words, he was completely excited. For a swordsman, without this, it is even more exciting. A swordsman whose goal is naturally to become the greatest swordsman in the world. While continuously improving his strength, Longma has lost hope of the way forward. At this time, Liang appeared, and the dragon and horse opened another door, letting him see that there was infinite hope, waiting for him to chase. Liang's swordsmanship is too strong. This is the real ultimate swordsmanship. It is also the goal that Ryoma believes that he needs to chase. It's good to have a company. Liang smiled, looking at the dragon horse that was already a zombie, thinking to himself. In this dark environment, it is not bad to find someone to chat with. At least, he won't be too boring. Of course, the premise is that he has to find Moonlight Mariah and cut the terrifying three-masted sailboat in half, which generally belongs to his own territory. It belongs to his territory, and the rest of the personnel are prohibited from logging in without authorization. The other half is where Moonlight Moria can live. I'm not a person who likes to slaughter as much as possible. It's kind of good to leave half of the land for him. Liang chuckled and muttered to himself in a low voice.